Hello, is it, okay, yeah, it's more than working, right. Okay, the last time I checked, my name is Michael Crowley, and I live in Lowell, and I also have a house in Lowell, and I'm gonna try to entertain you tonight, and we'll start from the beginning, which we'll begin with the start, so either one. Lately, Donald Trump has made so many turnovers on foreign policy that he is thinking of opening up a chain of bakery stores across America. And a while back, Warren Buffett had said to some on a TV show that one of Donald Trump's adversaries or opponents should come out and say, "Sir, where is your sense of decency?" I myself am waiting for someone in this audience to come up to me and say, "Sir, where is your sense of humor?" And Republicans, former Republican official Michael Bolton was on a talk show recently, and he said, "You're welcome." And he said something to the effect that Hillary Clinton had screwed up on a foreign policy decision, par for the course. It is then that I realized that she, like her husband Bill, likes to play golf. So don't get teed off at that one. Where are members of the mafia usually buried? 6 feet under, like the rest of us. And when are people most likely to jump to conclusions? When they are on a trampoline. And my visiting sister one time asked me, "Is the toilet running?" And I said, "No, it only takes a 15-minute daily walk." So I'll flush that one down the drain. There was a friend of mine who never dined at Kitty's in North Reading because he had an allergy to cat hair, just like you may have an allergy to my jokes after listening to them. There was a husband coming home from work, and he saw his house surrounded by police officers. So he went up to a police officer and said, "What's going on?" And the police officer said, "Your wife was in the kitchen washing the floor, and a stranger came into the house and walked on the floor of the kitchen, and she shot him. Would you like to go in and see your wife?" He said, "No, thank you, officer. The floor may still be wet." And let's see, just like I'm all wet right now, but I have a towel nearby. I had a friend recently had to pay his mechanic $750 for a catalytic converter. And he asked the mechanic, "How much would I have had to pay for a Protestantic converter?" So you can see I'm reaching with that one. If Charlene Heston had been born a girl, if Charlton Heston had been born a girl, he would have been named Charlene Heston. And what would have happened? He probably would have starred in a movie called Ben Him. I don't know where I got that from, but I'll steal jokes from anybody. What is the favorite dessert of a Catholic garden angel? An ice cream float. So I'm appealing to the Catholic audience when I tell that one. This is a 1970s joke. There was a charter airplane, and a pilot, President Ford, Henry Kissinger, and a priest and a hippie were on the plane, and it developed engine trouble. There were only 4 parachutes on the plane, and there were 5 occupants, as I just named them. So when there was engine trouble, they had to abandon the plane. So the pilot gets up and says, "I'm the pilot, I'm jumping out with a parachute." And then President Ford gets up and he says, "I'm the President of the United States, I'm using a parachute." Out he goes. And Henry Kissinger gets up and he says, "Well, I'm the smartest man in the world, so I'm using a parachute." So he gets up and jumps out. And so then the priest asked the hippie, he said, "What are we going to do, my son? There's 2 of us and there's only 1 parachute left." And he says to the priest, "Father, don't worry. The smartest man in the world just jumped out of the airplane with my knapsack on his back." You probably wish I would jump out of a plane right now without any knapsack. And recently I was in a cocktail lounge, and a man asked the waitress, "Do you serve a light beer?" And she said, "Yes, including the glass, we have a beer that weighs 10 ounces. So that joke may ail you, but I told it anyway. A house and a wife had a housewarming party, and invited all their neighbors. And so from 9 to 11 o'clock, the temperature in the house rose from 60 degrees Fahrenheit to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So you get into a heated argument on whether that was a good joke or not. After my mechanic gave me an oil and grease job, he said to me, "Sir, I think your water level is running low." And I said, "I'm surprised. I drink 8 glasses of water a day." And there is a technical school in Danvers known as Essex Aggie. And where do most of the students from Essex Aggie live? And the answer is Marblehead, Massachusetts, because in my day when we were playing marbles, there was a thing called the Aggie and so forth. So I try to excuse myself for telling that bad joke. What ethnicity is a crow covered with white paint? And the answer is Caucasian. Okay, that's for the birds. Who are the children? Thank you, John. Who are the children in a school that look like they're a ghost? And the answer is those children who have been covered had white milk thrown on them during the school fight. And a guy bought a book called How to Live a Long Life, but he died before finishing it. Just like you wish I died before I finished with the jokes that I'm telling right now. When a wife and a husband were living in an apartment, they came into a restaurant and the waitress asked, "Would you like a house dressing?" And the husband said, "No, we would prefer an apartment dressing." Okay, so I should pay rent for telling that one. And how does a person react when they eat American chop suey for the first time and don't like it? Okay. They start referring to it as American chop fooey. And what is the musical group that is most likely to develop a God complex? Diana Ross and the Supremes. So that was a supremely poor joke coming from the outcome of the laughter there. What do you call a lobster with personality defects? The claws with the flaws. And in a recent book about Leonard Nimoy, William Shatner, who played Captain Kirk on Star Trek, and Leonard Nimoy, who was Dr. Spock, I believe, Leonard Nimoy was doing a scene, and Shatner was along the side watching the scene, and Nimoy had to say the word pain, pain, pain 3 times. And so William Shatner says out loud, "Would someone get this guy an aspirin?" And so Leonard Nimoy did not like that. So afterwards he confronted William Shatner and he called him an SOB, and he didn't speak to him for a whole week as far as that goes. And the last one is, hey, that wasn't that funny, but thanks anyway. And if the Mass Bay colony had only been occupied by gorillas, what would have happened? Instead of Cape Cod, it would have been known as Ape Cod. So that's it. I'll be back 2 weeks from now, and thank you for your applause, and I hope you enjoyed the humor. Thank you very much.